like to open the meeting at 9:08 and welcome everybody this morning. Have Councillor Burkett online, is that right?
Yes, morning, Mayor.
Morning, John. Before we start this morning, I just want to take time to say a few words. Early last week, the Maranoa region sadly lost astute cattleman and former Baringa Shire councillor, Mr. Robert Lethbridge, aged 78. Third generation farmer, the Lethbridge family name has had a long and proud association with the region. Robert instigated the first on-property bull sale at the Warren Point property in 1970, a tradition that continues to this day. Robert served as a councillor for the Baringa Shire Council from 1995 right up until amalgamation 2008. Outside the property and council, Robert demonstrated an unwavering and commendable commitment to his community. Robert became the youngest Mitchell Show Society president at the age of 20. He remained working with the Show Society right through until his health started to decline over the last few years. Robert was patron and had a life membership from the Show Society bestowed upon him. Robert was a Rotarian and one of the driving forces behind setting up the Mitchell Combined Sporting Complex. He held the president's position at both clubs for many years. He also held positions on the Queensland Pole Hereford Society and was a director of the Australian Pole Hereford Society. On behalf of the Maranoa Regional Council, including former and current councillors, I would like to pass our thoughts to Beth and the family and ask, as a mark of respect and gesture of thanks, observe a minute of silence before today's scheduled business. Val Robert Kitchener, Lethbridge. Thank you. Can I have someone move the minutes of the ordinary meeting the 20th of July 2024, please? Councillor Brompton.
I move that the minutes of the ordinary meeting held on 10th of July 2024 be confirmed.
Seconder. Councillor Seawright. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. (8.1) Request to support advocacy improving pedestrian safety at Mitchell, Miss Campbell Street and Carnarvon Highway intersection. Councillor Brompton.
I move that Council advocate to the Department of Transport and Main Roads to undertake a review of the Miss Campbell Street and Carnarvon Highway intersection in Roma with the view of considering options including a pedestrian access to improve pedestrian safety at this location.
We have a seconder. Councillor Vincent. Would you like to speak, Councillor Brompton?
Yeah, just as a long-term resident of Roma and living out on the Carnarvon Highway and travelling that road for many, many years, I've noticed many near misses of young children in particular trying to get across that highway to get to school, either on bikes or pedestrian. And I've also noticed elderly people trying to cross the highway in that location. The nearest pedestrian crossings marked are at the corner of the main street where the where the traffic lights are, and the only other pedestrian crossing that goes across the Carnarvon Highway is at the Roma Junior School on the southern side of town. So I am requesting that council advocate to try and make a safe passage for that northern aspect of town to get across to the schools and the hospital, which are in that location up there.
Anyone like to speak against? Anybody?
I'd like to speak against the motion. While I can see the concerns expressed by Councillor Brumpton, I have a concern for the passage of trucks heading north. If you look at that, if we advocate for a pedestrian crossing there, we have a truck stopping at the corner of the KFC area on Bowen Street. We have a truck stopping at the traffic lights and starting up, and then we have another truck stopping on the Miss Gamble Street thing. I just feel that we might be creating an unsafe environment for trucks and the passage of trucks through the town of Roma if this particular advocacy goes ahead.
Thank you. Anyone for? Councillor Seawright?
Yeah, I'd actually support this for the advocacy. It'll be up to the TMR to do a case study and actually, find, if they do support it, find ways, and it might possibly become that it could be an underpass under the road and not a actual set of traffic lights and pedestrian crossing.
Anyone else against? Anyone else like to speak for? Councillor O'Neill?
Yeah, I'll speak for. Similar to Councillor Seawright's points, our role in this is to advocate on behalf of our community, and if concerns have been raised to Councillor Brumpton that there are question marks on the safety of particularly school students crossing the highway to get to the school on the top side of town, then our role is to advocate to Main Roads and for them to come up with an appropriate solution that you would hope would mitigate the concerns raised by Councillor Flynn. So on this basis, I'm happy that Council supports an advocacy piece going to TMR, as we have done for other issues that have been raised across the region, most recently the concerns of the Injune community in respect to the speed limit through their town, and the issues around the movement, particularly of trucks through what is quite a busy part of Injune, has seen a reduction in the speed. And so I think Council plays a really important role in the advocacy piece, and we should raise this with TMR and get a response from them.
Mm-hmm. Anyone else against? Anyone else like to speak for? Councillor Vincent?
Yeah, I support the advocacy behind this. I thank Councillor Flynn for raising his concerns as well. They are concerns, but I think the safety of our pedestrians is also of high concern for that area if things have been raised with us, and it is just an advocacy piece on ours. It is a TMR road, so that's as far as we can go with it. So, I support this today.
Thank you. Anyone else against? Anyone else for? I'd just like to say I agree with Councillor Flynn also, and maybe it could be a case of lower the speed. I don't know, but I also will vote for this, for the advocacy part of it. But it is a problem when you're thinking about the trucks. So, would you like to sum up, Councillor Brumpton?
Yeah. Look, thank you everyone for your comments both for and against, and I recognise the truck issue, and certainly, as we've said, it is TMR's responsibility to look at this and come up with potentially a safer crossing. I don't want to leave it till a truck does hit a child for us to then consider this, so that's one of the reasons I thought it was best to come forward before something happens rather than after. So for those reasons, I'm still supporting it. Thank you.
Yeah, very good. Okay, with that, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
Against? 8-1 8-1. We're going on to 41. 10.1, Merrill Robes and Chains cost estimate. I'd like to declare a conflict of interest. On 10.1, mayoral robes and chains cost estimate, the declaring councillor is Wendy Taylor, the person of interest is myself. The particulars of interest, the report mentions me in regards to the chains. It's a declarable conflict of interest, and although I have a declarable conflict of interest, I do not believe a reasonable person could have the perception of bias. Therefore, I would choose to remain in the meeting. However, I will respect the decision of the meeting on whether I can remain and participate in the decision. Councillor O'Neill?
I move that it is in the public interest that Councillor Taylor participates and votes on agenda item 10.1 because a reasonable person would trust that the decision is made in the public interest.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Brompton? All those in favour?
Yes.
8-0. So we'll go with mayoral robes and chains. Do I have a mover? Councillor O'Neill?
I'm going to move that Council 1 invite expressions of interest for a local seamstress to make the mayoral robe, and 2, receive the correspondence from Mayor Taylor and note the offer and intent to purchase and donate the chains to Maranoa Regional Council on behalf of Peter and Wendy Taylor.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Hancock, would you like to speak?
Yeah, thanks very much, Mayor. I am supportive of the purchase of the chain and robes for council, and I acknowledge the exceptionally generous offer that the Mayor has made to purchase and donate the chains as a legacy to your mayoralty, but also to recognise Peter and the support that Peter provided to you in your election to Mayor, and I want to say from the bottom of my heart, thank you, Mayor Taylor, for that offer, and I know I can speak on behalf of the community when I just say thank you. Look, for me, I think the idea of having mayoral robes and chains to symbolise the importance even further of some of the most, for some of our community, life-changing ceremonies, particularly around those that become Australian citizens. To have the Mayor of the Day wearing the historic regalia of what mayors in the past would have worn at what is a really important turning point in many people's lives when they become an Australian citizen, I think will add just that little bit extra to the whole ceremony. I see mayors right across the state wearing their mayoral robes and chains, and a combination of both at different events. Australia Day, for one, is one that I often see other mayors through social media posts, etc. And I think it does add to the ceremonial events. And so I'm very supportive of council purchasing the robes. I welcome the suggestion initially from Mayor Taylor about us exploring this, and now your offer. And I think, again, I speak on behalf of the community when I say thank you. And I think it will be a wonderful legacy for you in your role as Mayor, and also recognising Peter.
Thank you. Anyone against? Paul? Councillor Hancock?
Thanks, Mayor. I'm supporting this because, as I originally said when this report came to the table about exploring the costs, for me, this has never been about the Mayor. This has always been about the people, and the people have always been important. It's about making them feel special. It's about adding that level of an extra element to the ceremonies where these robes can be worn, like citizenships and Australia Day. It's about making those people feel that they are special. And that's why I'm supportive of both the mayoral robes and the chains. I'm very excited to see that we're going to put out an expression of interest to go to a local seamstress for the robes, because I think that can bring an element of our community into what those robes will look like. So I'm very supportive about that. As for the chains, I too want to acknowledge the offer of the Mayor to purchase them in memory of Pete. And why I love the concept of the chains is because when I stood for council, I publicly said that I'm here on the back of previous councillors who came before me. And Mayor Taylor, you're here on the back and the work and the services of mayors who've previously come before you. The chains are about acknowledging that it is not just about today, it is about the long service of many mayors who have come before us and how they've served their community, and adding then to the Mayor of the Day and how they are going to serve their community. But the Mayor of the Day wouldn't be there without the acknowledgement of the mayors who have come before. For me, this is about legacy, it's about history, and it's been acknowledging everybody who has served the community in a mayoral capacity for previous years, but for years to come. And that legacy, I believe, is worth having.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak for? I'd like to speak. Thank you both very much. And I just want to say about the chains is that I'm also going to try and source them locally. So hopefully we can get them from the local jeweller as well. So yeah, but thank you everybody for what you said. But yeah, I'll just move on with that. That'll be good. Would you like to sum up?
Yeah, thank you. It was remiss of me, and it's a really important point that Councillor Hancock raises. The mayoral chains are about, stamping at a point in time the history of what has come before. And, our history as Maranoa Regional Council started in 2008. We've been a council now for, do the math, 16 years? No. Is that right? 16 years. And so we've had Mayor Luffnan and Mayor Golder and now Mayor Taylor. And I think it will be really important to acknowledge the services of both Mayor Golder and Mayor Luffnan and the role that they've played in Maranoa Regional Council since its formation in 2008. And that will form part of the chains. As it will for the next 100 years, and I just think that will be a wonderful addition to the important ceremonial aspects of what you do as mayor on behalf of council, but for the community and for the people of Maranoa. So I urge all councillors to support this recommendation today.
With that, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. Ten point 2, recruitment of Chief Executive Officer update. Do I have a mover? Councillor O'Neill.
I move the council receive and note the following by way of update to the resolution pertaining to the recruitment of Chief Executive Officer report from the 10th of July 2024. 1. Mr Rob Haywood has accepted the position of Chief Executive Officer for Maranoa Regional Council, and 2, the appointment of Mr Rob Haywood has been finalised with the commencement date of Monday the 12th of August 2024.
I have a seconder. Councillor Vincent, would you like to speak?
Thanks very much, Mayor. I acknowledge that this little bit of information has already been shared with the broader community in the days after the decision that we made a fortnight ago, but I do think it is important that we recognise it here formally as part of our agenda today. I think this is an exciting step for Maranoa Regional Council. Rob Haywood comes with extensive local government experience, not only having worked for Maranoa Regional Council and Roma Regional Council, but also Baringa Shire Council, and has had extensive experience at senior levels across other councils, pre-amalgamation, with Rob having been the CEO at Tambo Shire Council. And I really welcome Rob back into the fold at MRC. He was Deputy CEO for some 14 years in our organisation and played a significant role in leading the organisational wing. I don't think we have made we have made a very good step in the right direction in guiding our organisation by attracting someone with the calibre that Rob brings to the role. Pleasingly, it's no secret that we undertook a exhaustive recruitment process where we had a large number of applicants and then shortlisted to interview a 3 stellar applicants for the role of CEO, and Rob Hayward has been our choice, and I think that is the right choice. A unanimous vote of council to appoint Rob, and we will certainly welcome him back on the 12th of August. In acknowledging Rob's appointment, I want to reiterate the points that I made a fortnight ago in respect to Cameron Hoffman. Cam, you as acting CEO and the role that you've done over the last 4 months has set this term up on the right path. We asked you 2 things. One is to undertake the recruitment of a permanent person into the role of CEO, but also to guide us through the budget process, which is always more difficult in the first budget after an election. But you have done that with the professionalism that I and the rest of council knew that you would. And so I want to thank you for that. I acknowledged it last week, I'll acknowledge it today. We know that you didn't apply for the role of CEO, and we know why. You've put family first, given the age of your kids, and I respect that decision and I support it. And I acknowledge that because, Cam, you have done an exceptional role in your time in that chair, and I want to just say thank you from me as one person that has flipped from this side of the room to sitting up there for a little bit. You have been an exceptional advisor and support, and I tip my hat to you and say thank you. And I can already see the changes that you've been involved in terms of the broader organisation, and we're hearing it from staff that the morale is picking up, and that's because of your organisational leadership. So thank you. But we know that you've got a big role to continue to play in our organisation, and will help Rob get his feet under the desk on the 12th, and so he can hit the ground running. So I urge all councillors to support the recommendation.
Anyone like to speak against? How could you after that?
Yes.
Anyone else like to speak for? Councillor Vincent.
I'll speak for, not that there's much left to say.
Thinking that myself.
Sorry.
You got mine written down.
Yes.
Feeling that.
Yeah, thank you to the acting CEO. I had the exact same points written down for you helping us to steady the ship at the beginning, helped us with the budget, and also now helped us assist with the recruiting of a new CEO. And we did throw a few additional problems on your shoulders along the way. So I think you've done a wonderful job. And as a new councillor, thank you for your guidance to myself, and also for the support for lifting the staff morale as we went along. Welcome to Rob to the role of CEO. Rob not only has the qualifications and experience to lead our organisation through our term of council, but he's also a local. So this appointment ensures we support our local talent and gives an opportunity to keep them locally, so our community can learn the knowledge that he has as well. I believe Rob will be the best fit for this term of council, and it has been chosen by the full council, which has been really great experience. So I look forward to the next 4 years with Rob at the helm.
Thank you, councillor. I might just speak now before everyone takes my place. It's not easy when you've got to go last. So I would like to say, and it has been said, but I'm going to say it anyway. I also would just like to thank you all for your input with the recruitment and your time, because it was a process, and you all were very amazing in that. I believe Rob Hayward is a perfect fit for Maranoa Regional Council and its councillors. I also believe Rob is a perfect fit for me. Not to take away from Rob at all, but being a community member and the Maranoa being home is an added bonus for the council. The direction as this council are looking to take will only be complemented by Rob. Once again, I too would like to thank Acting CEO Cam for going over and above to help steer this ship. We can move forward now with the confidence and the direction to get the Maranoa Regional Council back to business. So I only had a little bit to say, so it's all good. Anyone else like to speak? Councillor Hancock.
I'd just like to publicly welcome, Rob and his appointment as the CEO when he starts on the 12th of August. I too want to reinforce the thorough process that we went through as a council to make the decision to select Rob Hayward as our CEO. I look forward to working with Rob again. I believe that his experience, his knowledge, and his leadership is exactly what this council needs at this time. And I believe that Rob will bring with him some fresh ideas and new passion, and this will be truly an opportunity for him to lead his organisation as CEO in a way where the people are just so valued. Rob values his employees. That is one of a big asset for me as his CEO, and I just want to to say that I am excited to see where he takes his council in the next 4 years. But I too do want to acknowledge Acting CEO Cam Hoffman. Cam, it's actually the same as what I said about the mayors. When a CEO takes on a position, they're taking it on from how other people have left. And Cam, what you have done and will have done by the 12th of August in 4 short months is no small feat. You have stamped your leadership on this council. You have changed and turned around the culture of an organisation that when you took over was at an all-time low. And we hear that from the staff, and we hear it from the community. You did that in a few short months, Cam. That will not be lost. Everything that you did is actually setting up Rob Hayward to be able to step in with his feet under the table and to continue the work that you have begun. I just want to thank you because we threw so much at you and you stepped up every time. But the most important thing for me is you served us and our community with excellence. And I want to thank you and acknowledge you for that.
Anybody else like to speak? We'll go to the vote. Oh, sorry.
Sorry.
Oh, so,
Sorry.
Councillor.
I'll just quickly say, firstly, I'd like to congratulate Rob. I have spoken to him personally, and I think he will be an asset. And I think one of the good things about Rob going out into a different field with another organisation will probably give him a different perspective. That's something that he can bring back to our organisation. And I've known Rob since the mid-90s, and he's definitely done a vast different roles in the council. So I wish him all the best. And for Cam, I have no doubt you will be CEO one day, and I've said that to you before. You did undertake a massive job, thrown in the deep end, but you done it respectfully and willingly, and you gave advice, and your ear was always there for everyone in the room, and I know they all respect that and appreciated that. So, and I no doubt you'll be Rob will be leaning on you for the next few months, and mate, wish you all the best going back to your old role. But thanks very much, mate.
Thank you, Councillor.
Yeah, just through the chair, it's obviously unconventional for me to speak at this time. I normally wouldn't, but I just, my job's not done. It's obviously I'll work right up until Rob's in the chair, but I just wanted to say, it's just been an absolute honour to sit here and serve in this role, and I can't thank you enough for entrusting me with such an important role for the community and that. So, to me, it's been an absolutely humbling experience. The support that I've been given through this chamber, through my staff, and through the council will stay with me for forever and that. So, barring a special meeting, this will be my last meeting at this sort of table at the front here. But I just wanted to say thanks very much. It's as I said, it's been an honour, and I will definitely be looking forward to having good productive discussions with Rob to make sure we can continue on the trajectory that we've started with this term. So really am looking forward to that, and so thank you very much. As I said, I normally wouldn't speak during debate, but I just didn't want to miss the opportunity to say how much I appreciate everything that you guys have provided. So thank you.
Thanks, Cam. Councillor Nair, do you want to sum up?
Just very quickly, thanks for your words too, Cam. I was going to highlight the fact that there is 2 weeks left, and there is always another monkey that can be thrown on a back. But this is your last council meeting, subject to, as you say, a special meeting. Thank you for serving your council for the last 4 months. I can say, having had the honour myself of sitting here for 12 years, the budget process that we undertook this year is the most rigorous, most in-depth, and most thorough that I have ever been involved in, and that is because of you. Your professionalism to provide, raw, free, honest, impartial advice to council so that we make the best decision for our community and set this term up so that we are, making sure we're leaving Maranoa Regional Council in a far better position in 2028 than when we found it in 2024. We're going to achieve that because of the work that you did in guiding us through this budget process this year. So thank you so much for your contribution to council. You're not going anywhere, of course. You've got a lot more to contribute. It'll just be guiding the organisation in a different role. But thank you, and thank you to your family behind you, because I know the hours increased significantly over the last 4 months, and with that comes a sacrifice to your wife and kids, and they should be acknowledged as well. In saying that, Rob, you can just work between 9 and 5 and you'll get the job done, and there won't be a sacrifice and it'll all be fine. But thank you, Cam, and as I said in my opening remarks, welcome to Rob, and we look forward to him starting on the 12th of August.
Thank you. Okay, with that we'll go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. 10.3, inclusion of housing portfolio. Do I have a mover? Councillor Seawright.
I move the council update the council portfolio policy to include housing, with the responsibility of this portfolio to be assigned to Mayor Wendy Taylor, as originally intended at the council meeting on 26th of June 2024.
You have a seconder? Councillor Flynn. Would you like to speak, Councillor Seawright?
Only just for the public, if they can't read the notes, it was just really just omitted from the last meeting just through clerical error. So it's not a new addition, it's just been formally added back in to ensure that role continues.
Thank you. Anyone else want to speak against? For? Councillor O'Neill.
Thanks, Chair. The housing portfolio is going to be one of the biggest issues for this term to grapple with. We know that there is some real pressure being put on our community in respect to affordable rentals in particular, and council needs to play a very strong role in leading an effort to take some of that pressure off. I don't see a better person than yourself, Mayor, taking on this portfolio. As Mayor, I think this is the right fit for you to have the housing portfolio. It hasn't, obviously last term we didn't have portfolios, the term before it didn't exist, but the term before that it did. And that's just recognising the cycle our community's been on in respect to those issues. But this is a big topic for us, and one that we need to grapple very quickly, and assigning the housing portfolio to you is the right fit.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Let's go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. 10.4, advocacy considerations, call for the LGAQ conference motions 2024. Do I have a mover? Councillor Vincent.
I'd like to move that Council 1 lodge the following motions at the upcoming 2024 Local Government Association of Queensland LGAQ Annual Conference. 1, removing the variable co-contribution funding percentages within a local government area that has been introduced into certain funding programs. 2, addressing the ownership, responsibility and condition of fences within rail corridor to reduce impact on stock route and travelling stock management. 2, authorise the Chief Executive Officer to finalise the motion and submit by the due date on Monday the 29th of July 2024.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Seawright. Would you like to speak, Councillor Vincent?
Yeah, these motions have been discussed here within Council. Just the variable co-contribution, for those listening, Roma is often charged more, having to pay a higher percentage for co-contribution when going for funding. So we'd just like to make it fair and equitable across our area. And the rail corridor issues with fences has been raised during the stock route management planning workshops. So this is just one way to advocate or try to come to some sort of agreement as to who's responsible for that corridor.
Thank you.
Can I just help Nikita for the purpose of the minutes? Page 51, that wording was there.
Anyone like to speak against? Anyone for? Councillor O'Neill?
Thanks, Mayor. I wasn't going to contribute, but I think it is important to reiterate the points that Councillor Vincent has made, particularly around the first resolution that we'll be submitting to LGAQ. But before I get to that, I think us as a council, we need to regularly engage with our association, being LGAQ. It is our peak advocacy group for local governments right across the state. And it's a pretty powerful organisation to get changes within government. And this issue around the funding variable co-contribution and the percentages that are being used by government is not just an issue that affects our council, it's affecting others. And what we're seeing is that communities within a geographical or local government boundary are pitted against one another. And so the point that Councillor Vincent made in that, often Roma, when we go for funding, has a 50-50 split, is pitted against communities outside of Roma that are seen to have an 80-20 split. And what needs to be highlighted to government, and the association, I think, is the right vehicle to do this, amongst us raising it ourselves, as Mayor Taylor and I did only a week ago with, or all of us did with the Minister, is that it's the same ratepayers, whether it's in Roma or if it's in Injune or if it's in Surat or anywhere else. It's the same ratepayers contributing our part to it. And so I think it needs to be more fair and equitable, and that the only way to do that is to ensure it's an 80-20 split right across the region, not a 50-50 split right across the region. So it's a two-pronged approach, and I think this will be a motion at the annual conference that will get very strong support, particularly across our regional council cousins in Queensland.
Anyone else like to speak? Would you like to sum up, Councillor Vincent?
No, that's
You're right? Okay. Let's take it to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. 11.1. Audit Committee minutes, 10th of June 2024. Councillor Brompton?
I move that Council 1 receive and note the unconfirmed minutes of the Audit Committee meeting held on 10th of June 2024, and 2, approve the Audit Committee's recommendations in the minutes for the items contained in the list below, A to T. Do I need to read all those out?
Not
No.
if it's in open, you don't normally.
Okay.
No. Do we have a seconder? Councillor Davis, would you like to speak to them?
Yes, thanks, Mayor Taylor. We had our first meeting under this current council of the Internal Audit Committee back on the 10th of June. It was a quite robust meeting with a lot of information to be reviewed at that time. Part of our council's previous considerations at one of our May meetings was we considered the need to increase the membership of the audit committee, and that has since gone out for advertising, but we don't have that finalised yet. But certainly in terms of discussion and debate at that meeting, I think it was quite detailed. We went through over a number of hours all the information that was presented. We did identify some things that required further work, and certainly as council further progresses in this term, I think we will get a much more robust internal audit committee. And one of the things that needed more work definitely is the risk framework and risk register, and that was highlighted in that meeting. And out of that risk register and framework also comes our strategic internal audit plan, and certainly as one of the members there, one of the things I think we really need to look at is how that risk framework will then inform our internal audit plan, because I'm not sure that the things that we have on the plan currently are maybe our highest risk that need to be looked at. But certainly with a enhanced audit committee, and as we progress through this term, I think we will get much more detail around this and be able to find out a lot more information and assist the full council in our audit and risk portfolios.
Very good.
Can I just ask a question? Thanks, Madam Mayor. With regard to the advertising of the extra positions, where does that fit into this recommendation? I don't see anywhere, unless it's in the review of the terms of reference, where that fits into this recommendation. So I'm just asking, shouldn't we have that included in our recommendations from this meeting?
Yeah, through the chair, Councillor Finn, thanks for the question. The terms of reference note an increase in membership to 4, but at a previous meeting, council resolved to advertise to call expressions of interest for that. So essentially, there's a separate motion from a previous meeting to
Full
invite
council
expression
meeting.
of interest.
24th of May, I believe it was. We had it at our full council meeting.
Yeah. So sorry, just to support the viewpoints here. Yes, those changes were brought to the full council. Yes, I believe it was the 24th of May. I'm happy to double check that for you. To increase the membership, it was also discussed around the remuneration of the members as well.
And that discussion around remuneration. I wasn't totally sure of the actual numbers that we were adding.
Yeah. And then the TOR went back to the audit committee as part of the June meeting as well too, for any changes that they thought might need to be changed, which is a normal process, and then that would be endorsed back to council if there were any further changes that were to be made. Just in regards to just a bit of an update around for the council around the audit committee, we have advertised through vendor panel. We have also advertised through Maranoa today, and we also have advertised through board directions. So far we've got 8 applications in. 26 it's closing, which is this Friday, through board directions, and then we'll have a list available to assess from there.
Does that answer your question, Councillor?
Fine.
Yep. Anyone speak against? Did I say that? 4, I'd just like to speak as well. Beryl and I were both on the audit committee. One thing I would like to see come out of this as well is that when it does come to council, because the minutes are a bit vague, for want of a better word, I would like to see that a report comes to council at the same time. For example, the director is in the meeting, so whoever is there comes back with a full report on what happened at the meeting. If it's not, I would assume it'd have to be an officer. The other thing I'd like to see, once we get ourselves settled, is if you would all like to just come maybe once or twice, just so that you can see the procedure, because I've never been to one in the 4 years that I was a councillor, and it was a real eye-opener. So, not like they're all recommendations that come to council. So I would like to see that we actively do bring them to council and for your consideration. So I think having 6 will be a lot better than 4. And I mean, personally, I've still got a lot to learn about it, which Meryl guides me along, so that's all really good. So, so I found it really interesting. I think it could be more value than we've ever used it for or had with it. So, yeah, looking forward to the next 4 years of it and getting 6 on the thing. And we've actually been, who did we have, Cameron?
Queensland Audit Office.
Yeah, Queensland Audit Office actually rang us and asked us why we were going to have 6, and they were very impressed with us. So anyway, we'll see how we go with that. So anyone else like to speak? Councillor O'Neill.
Yeah, I'll speak. Thanks, Chair. I attended the last Audit and Risk Committee as well in supporting the Mayor in the week that she was coming back to Council. And I got a lot out of it as well. I've sat on Audit and Risk Committees in other organisations. I think it'd be incredibly valuable to have a rotation of councillors attending the Audit and Risk as observers. And if you wanted to go to all of them, I'm sure you can sit up in the gallery like anyone else to observe particularly the discussions that will come from the independent directors. It was pleasing to hear the support from our then 2 existing independent directors of the increase to 6 members. I'm pleased the Mayor touched on the phone call from the Queensland Audit Office. I was in the office the same day that call came through and contributed as well. We are bucking the trend, which is a positive thing. To have a majority of independent directors sitting on our audit committee. We also stress the importance of having 2 councillors on the audit committee. I think that's vital as well to have that conduit back into council and to grow that skill set amongst the elected representatives, I think is really important. But having that independent lens is going to be very valuable to us. I welcome this report. It's got a lot more meat to the bone than what we've previously seen at the council table, and with the suggestions that the Mayor has made in terms of a more formal report coming back via a council meeting or a briefing or however that may look, I think that will be of value to councillors that aren't the delegated councillors on the audit committee. So well done, and look forward to those changes after the next meeting.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Would you like to
Just through the chair, I'd just like to make an additional comment. There were 20 items on the committee meeting. Unfortunately, we missed the May meeting. The March meeting was due on the 12th of March. It was decided because of the election being held on the 16th of March, we would defer it until April. It got deferred from April for a couple of because of availability, if I recall rightly. So we decided that we would actually include the March meeting agenda items in June. So please, just as a word of encouragement, don't, just because there's 20 items on there, don't take that as a large. It's a double up of agenda items. So just as a word of encouragement.
Thank you. Would you like to sum up, Councillor?
I don't think there's any need. Thank you.
With that, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. (13.1) Draft user agreement creative in June. Do I have a mover? Councillor Vincent.
I'd like to move that council enter into an exclusive user agreement with Creative in June for a period of 3 years for the use of the community room at the front of the In June Memorial Hall. Sorry, Nikita. Previously known as the Chips Room. 2, charge no higher fee for the use of this room for the term of the agreement.
Have a seconder? Councillor O'Neill. Would you like to speak, Councillor Vincent?
This room was vacated by the Chips Group when they moved to the In June Museum, and Creative in June, I believe, has approached council. I know there was a lot of community consultation with Creative in June to ensure that if other groups wanted to use the room as well, especially in the art field, it's I don't believe they went outside these sort of art groups, but they have put it out there to the patchwork group and things like that I believe are coming in underneath Creative in June now. So they've got use of that room as well. So, and they're actively working in the background. I see last night they're promoting a fundraiser to fit the room out to suit them. So it'll be great to see the room being used again.
Cheers. Anyone else? Anyone like to speak against? Anyone
I just
for?
have a question,
Yep.
sorry,
Yep.
Madam Mayor. Chips, just so that we're in line, Chips previously didn't pay a higher fee either.
That's correct.
Yeah. And this now falls under the remit of local development officers, facilities hire and lease agreements, or is that our facilities department?
Our facilities department are the lead on that. Kylie, because we started the process with the group back at their AGM, we did some of the legwork, then fed that into the team, facilities team, to sort of sign off on it and say, yep, make that any amendments, and then just to ease a bit of the burden, we've brought it through the chamber. Thank you.
Anybody else like to speak? Would you like to sum up, councillor?
No, I just urge councillors to support this. They are a very active group. I don't know, do they admit their age in here? I'm not too sure, but they've mentioned that they're sick of carrying all their furniture, and they did have a cupboard in the hall that continually got broken into when the hall was used by other users to try and keep their stuff there. So, I know there's learn to sew classes and things that are happening. So, it'd be good to see it go through.
Yeah. Director, you don't have anything? Thank you. Okay. All those in favour?
Yes.
9-0. Thank you. 14.1, representation on decision, material change of use for food and drink outlet, drive-through coffee at 41 Quinton Roma, reference 2023/2962. I'd like to declare a conflict on 14.1, representation on decision, material change of use for food and drink outlet, drive-through coffee at 41 Quinton Street, Roma, reference 2023/2962. The declaring councillor is Wendy Taylor. The person of interest is myself. I own property on Bowen Street. The matter talks about the development using Bowen Street as an interest. It's a prescribed conflict of interest, and I'll leave the room while the matter is discussed and voted on. If I could ask the deputy to take the chair.
All right, Wendy's left the room on a conflict of interest. Item 14.1, representations on decision, material change of use for food and drink outlet, drive-through coffee at 41 Quinton Street, Roma, reference 2023/20962. Is there a mover or any questions to start? Councillor Searide?
I've just got a question. Just in regards to the report that the respondent had actually provided, we've actually got some details on the I think the queuing, average queuing. The respondent did provide, just looking at it, the respondent did provide us a diagram, I guess, of the average queuing being 7, but the diagram provided queuing to 5. Just in the report that is obviously recommending not to approve it, it is in regards to the queuing they've given didn't actually include vehicles actually being served at the time in the waiting bay, did that?
So part of it is that. Part of it is also their traffic numbers, which generate their queuing, was based solely on northbound traffic.
Yep.
They took no consideration that additional vehicles from heading southbound or
yep.
from other directions might also be accessing the facility.
Yep.
They based it solely on
The
vehicles
northbound.
already driving past the
Yep.
northbound side.
Okay. Thank you.
I've got a question. Kate, can you explain, and I saw the email this morning, the representative who came and had a delegation with council, where does that person fit in?
I believe the applicant is Roma Central Trust. I didn't do a full ASIC search, but their registered postcode is Robina, which is where the delegate is based. So without doing the full ASIC search, I believe he is the applicant as Roma Central Proprietary Limited.
Okay, right. Councillor Brumpton, did you have a question?
No, I was going to move it. That wasn't.
Any other questions? Is there a mover? There is Councillor Brumpton.
I'll move that Council 1 resolve that the preliminary approval for material change of use for a food and drink outlet, drive-through coffee shop and operational works advertising device at 41 Quinton Street, Roma, described as Lot 1 on RP 41599, remain unchanged, and 2, that a negotiated decision notice will not be issued.
We have a mover. Is there a seconder?
Yeah, second.
There is Councillor Flynn. Does the mover wish to speak?
We consider, some of the items have been raised in the question. Council had made a previous decision about this matter. We did receive a deputation. It hasn't addressed many of the items that Council had asked be addressed. And for that reason, I'm suggesting and supporting that we resolve to continue along this vein.
Thanks, Councillor Brumpton. Is there a speaker against?
I'll speak against. I am, in my mind conflicted since I've earlier supported a resolution to look at a pedestrian crossing as with the TMR. I know the TMR have done a study, and based on old numbers, they've approved this entrance. It's a tough one, and based on a lot of the figures, the respondent may, if it doesn't, if this resolution goes through as it is, whether or not they'll actually continue for this development. That block has been empty with only one other person for the last 15 years looking at development. And to me, it's not just a case of, populating a site for populating a site. There is obviously other coffee, venues opening in town with drive-through, which will take some of that, that traffic away as well. I don't think every person would suddenly flock to that area with another option being around the corner. And also, the location, the design of that building probably, facilitates that. If it doesn't get up, they mightn't actually go ahead. But in this regard, Ed, I do feel like, looking at the numbers, that it possibly, would work. And, there'll be hopefully other menus or venues that would take substantial some of that traffic away in regards to that peak hour. Also, if it doesn't go ahead like I did have raised in discussions, that this place would be one of the only coffee places, not that we're, heavily uppy in that regard, but would be one of the only probably other places that you could socially meet with all hours of the day. There's other venues around town that actually close at, say, 2 o'clock, 1 o'clock. And, your closest option really is to, perhaps go to a pub and try, score yourself a coffee versus a friendly alcoholic beverage, just in a meeting situation that it's not required for. So, it's a lot of, a lot of caution, in regards to what can happen on that intersection. I do hope, in regards that it would actually turn into a traffic lights at some point, maybe to help, combat some of the traffic issues we already have on that, that corner. And I do acknowledge there is a few, and this may, at some time impact it as well. But I still believe that the respondent has done a significant, design to try combat those issues expressed by council.
Thanks, Councillor Sarah. Is the speaker for? There is Councillor Flynn.
Yes, I'd like to speak for the motion, and I also acknowledge the fact that the representation to us has indicated that the block has been unused and vacant for 15 years, which is a concern for the council, but it would be remiss of me not to speak for the motion, given the fact that earlier in the meeting I expressed concerns with regard to heavy vehicles on the corner of Bowen and the Carnarvon Highway, the traffic lights at McDowell Street and Carnarvon Highway, and a proposal or some indication that we may be looking at some further blockage of heavy vehicles on Miss Gamble Street and Northern Road. And given the fact that I've also, in previous councils and on this council, spoke about the heavy vehicle situation with regard to opening up Primaries Road. So I just feel that this application doesn't help in the flow of traffic in this particular area of town in very busy times, as indicated in the reports.
Thanks, Councillor Flynn. A speaker against? Further speaker for? There is Councillor Davis.
Thank you. I love coffee. I would love to see this site utilised. I'd love to see the extra jobs that would be open. Previous council did preliminary approval of this with the Bowen Street access. I'm still concerned with the queuing. Driving here this morning at 9:15 with trucks going past, lollipop ladies at the school. It does have a dual driveway off the highway, so cars would both be entering and exiting the drive-through coffee shop outlet. And yeah, that is a major concern for me, and I won't be supporting this motion as it stands. I would love to see something there, but the queuing just puts a halt on it for me.
Thanks, Councillor Davis. No one indicated further speakers against. There are more further speakers for. Councillor Hancock? Or Councillor Burkett? Are you speaking
Sorry,
for?
I'll speak for. After the deputation, the gentleman did sway me on a few things, but the things that stand out to me, and some have been covered. In a perfect world, if the school wasn't there and we had lights, maybe, but I still think if we had a second set of lights, it could create issues with trucks between the two sets of lights then, in blocking the actual intersections. The big thing for me is the queuing. Doesn't matter if it comes in from Bowen Street. I still think there'll be queuing, will hold up traffic unless there's a slip lane there. The trucks coming around onto the Northern Road will cause issues, and I know they've done some work around how many cars can be queued inside, but you can't predict these crazy coffee drinkers. They could be turn up there in 10s and 20s, or there could be 2. You just don't know where it's going to be. And plus the school drop-off times, if they're going to grab one on their way dropping off or on the way back, that's going to cause hassles too. So I'll support this with the no change. Thank you.
Thanks, Councillor Burkett. Councillor Hancock?
Thanks. This has been a difficult decision, I'm sure, for all of us. But for me, I so want to support economic development. I so wanted to be able to support and being able to utilise that block and the jobs that it would bring to our town. But for this decision for me today, I have to put public safety ahead of that. And that is my decision to support this recommendation, that it remains unchanged. Because we support economic development, we did try and negotiate with a different access and different ways that we might be able to support for this to go ahead on that site. But unfortunately, that didn't fit in with the application's their view on that site and how it should be laid out. So, we really, really did try and negotiate and support this application. But at the end of the day, it is public safety going around that intersection. I would just, even though this is our recommendation today, I'd urge the applicant to maybe reconsider some of the suggestions that council has put forward.
Thanks, Councillor Hancock. Further speakers for? Councillor Vincent?
I agree with everything everyone's saying. It would be great to get the economic development and the site being utilised for that. Council did attempt to change the entry point to try and cut down on the queuing on the Quinton Street there. I had to have a lot of concerns about the heavy vehicles turning right to head out Northern Road to run into a queuing cars there. So I will support this today.
Thanks, Councillor Vincent. That's everyone. I'm going to support this as well, on the basis that I was one of the councillors, as Councillor Burkett and Councillor Hancock were, that were here when we made the preliminary approval, and I supported it then. I still support that preliminary approval with the need to address some concerns around the entrance and exit to this particular site. I am, myself very supportive of economic development and to see investment into our town. This doesn't say no to investment. This says yes to investment, but to address some of the concerns around the entrance and exit and the queuing. And what will be, if reports are correct, a very busy site. I myself am not a coffee drinker, so I wasn't offended by Councillor Burkett's comments. But it will be a busy site. There are a lot of people that enjoy getting a coffee each and every day, and so it would be remiss of us not to have a look at what that means in terms of impact on vehicle movement in what is an incredibly busy intersection, not only in Roma, but for the broader southwest. This is a point where highways cross, and we are a major thoroughfare for truck movements right across central Queensland. And so I am supportive of this recommendation. It upholds the preliminary approval because it remains unchanged. And so council still is approving subject to addressing those issues. And so I'm going to support the recommendation today. Does the mover wish to sum up?
Yes, thanks. Again, just reinforcing what's been said, Council has actually given a preliminary approval for this site. We are not stopping this development occurring. We are just asking the developers to consider what we have suggested to reduce the queuing issues. Yes, I acknowledge that Transport and Main Roads didn't see an issue with that. I personally question how they could not have seen an issue with that, but that's my personal opinion. But also importantly, and to take Councillor Seawright's issues, we actually got our own independent traffic engineer, I think that's the right terminology, advice, which gave significant advice to council which had not been addressed by the developer. So that information was still there. We also got information about their queuing assessments, and as the officer said, most of that was addressing only traffic coming in one particular direction. So even with that queuing assessment, the information we were given by the officers and the traffic engineer, it didn't equate to the queuing numbers that the developer was showing. So I think there are significant issues for us around that. We're not stopping the development, we're just asking the developer to consider what we have put in our approval, and for that reason I think we've made the right decision here.
Thanks, Councillor Brupton. I'll put the motion. Those in favour?
Yes.
And against? That's a 7-1.
Mayor, can I have the excuse, please?
Up to the lake.
Correct, yep, L1.
Just make a note that Councillor Flynn has left the room. On to the late agenda. L1, Maranoa Stock Group Management Plan 2024-2029. Could I have a mover? Councillor Hancock.
I'm happy to move. I just have a question.
Yep.
Just with the recommendation that council received a note, then we're implementing. I just wonder if we should put number 3 there. I just want to be led by the CEO and director. So we're endorsing the implementation of the stock group, but as we discussed in our briefing, there'll be other documents that fall out of that. Do we need to have a point 3 in there to, basically, I want to say, let's continue working on that document. Let's produce, our operational plan, does it need to be in here, or will it already happen once we adopt this?
Through the chair, the way that it reads to endorse the implementation of the plan, and you'll note that when we went through the plan in the briefing, it had a full list of what that implementation included, which includes the development of any documents and other processes and procedures. So I believe that actually covers that, and it also includes that the plan is a dynamic document.
Okay, thank you.
Councillor O'Neill.
It's more a statement. Does someone move it?
I'm going to
Not
move
yet.
it.
No.
I make the suggestion that the recommendation reads that council approve the Maranoa Stock Group Management Plan 2024 to 2029. That's it.
How about you move that?
Well, it's just to receive a note that we've got to approve this.
We're approving the implementation.
Well, no, we're approving the plan.
Yeah.
Through the chair, that I believe that the Deputy Mayor makes a very good point, that by approving the plan, it is endorsing that implementation. And perhaps the
And not to receive a note, the report, it's just we approve the plan.
Someone like to move that? Councillor Hancock.
I move that council approve the Maranoa Stock Group Management Plan 2024 to 2029.
Someone second that? Councillor Brompton, like to speak to it?
Yeah, thank you. I do. I think I want to thank the staff for the work that they have put into this plan, and also to Liz, who's kind of contracted. I just wanted to say thank you so very much for the way that they implemented getting the information to be able to put in the plan. I think it is a document that was needed, and I am excited to see and hear that the processes and procedures are part of the plan, because I actually think that they are very critical documents that we put in place, so that there is clear understanding on behalf of community and council of the processes and procedures that go along with managing our stock routes. I think managing our stock routes is a critical service that we do in our community, and so I just want to thank the staff for all the hard work that they have done to put into this plan and to get it to us today.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Councillor Vincent.
Yeah, I'd just like to thank the staff as well. I was lucky enough to be available to go to the In June workshop, and there was good attendance there, and the work that has been done right around the region to ensure that this does reflect what our community wants. I too like the implementation plan, and the set out of makes it very easy reading. And I was going to say one other thing and I've forgotten. Yeah, so I do just endorse this management plan.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? I'd like to sum up? No. Everyone, I'll go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
8-0. L2, 2024 LGAQ Annual Conference, Councillor Attendance and Voting Arrangements. Councillor O'Neill.
I'd like to move that council one, I'm changing this, Nikita, approve attendance. Attendance of all councillors at the 2024 LGAQ Annual Conference in Brisbane, and the rest stays the same.
Yeah, but you need to read it out.
Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah, yeah, I should. That council approve attendance of all councillors at the 2024 LGAQ conference in Brisbane on the 21st to 23rd of October 2024. 2, nominate Mayor Taylor and Deputy Mayor O'Neill as its voting delegates for 2024 LGAQ annual conference in Brisbane on the 21st to 23rd of October 2024. And 3, draw applicable registration, travel and accommodation costs from attending councillors' conference budget allocation.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Vincent. So basically you're saying any council that would like to go,
If they want to go.
If they want to go.
They have approval to go.
they have approval to go, yeah.
Yeah.
But they don't have to make up their mind today?
They don't.
No, very good. Would you like to speak?
I would. Thanks, Mayor. What I've just moved, I think, is identical to what was moved in 2023, where the full council gave approval to any councillor to make the decision to attend the LGAQ conference if they so wished. There are 2 voting delegates for LGAQ, and this year I've nominated myself and Mayor Taylor, and obviously that can change in years ahead in respect to the voting delegates and who can and can't speak on behalf of council on resolutions on the floor of convention. I think the reason I supported this last year and I support it again this year to approve the attendance of all councillors is because I think each councillor should be afforded the opportunity to attend their annual conference. This conference, for those that have attended in the past, will agree that you get a lot out of it. You get a lot out of it because you put a lot into it as well. The ability to network with councillors right across the state, to have conversations with metropolitan councillors, regional councils, rural councillors, I think is incredibly important for us to be able to do the role of representing our community and making the decisions around this table. You will have side conversations on issues that may exist in other shires, or they don't, but they can help you navigate good outcomes for your role sitting in this room. And that's certainly been my experience attending LGAQ conferences over the years that I've been a councillor, as well as the Bush Councils, which will be a conversation for next year. But there is a lot of value in attending the annual conference. I know and can hear Mayor Taylor's comments after the first time that she attended an LGAQ conference and what she got out of it as a new councillor. And it took me back to when I was first elected, and it's a shame Councillor Flynn isn't here at the moment because he too attended that first conference and I did in 2012. And it set me up for the term and the years ahead. And there are still contacts that I've made from right across the state that I call on at different times to discuss, of course not confidential matters, but issues pertaining to us running a local government. So I strongly urge councillors to support this and support your fellow councillors attending if you so wish and if you can fit it into your diaries, noting that we have moved our ordinary meeting from this particular week to give that opportunity for all councillors to attend.
Anyone like to speak against? I'll speak for it. Councillor O'Neill is right. If you're going to do anything, this is the one to do, apart from the Bush Councils, because that's very bushy. It's really good. But this one, I mean, even if you only go to 1 or 2, this is one of them to go to. I thoroughly enjoyed it. That was in my last year? That was in the 4th year. So I wished I'd been able to go in my 1st or 2nd year because it really did open up a lot of conversations, and they're all the same, you know. Every council like ours, we've all got the same problems, and, you know, just listening to how they solve their problem might help you solve yours. So, and because Councillor O'Neill's been there since 2012, did you say? He knows everybody in the room, so that's also a big advantage. So I will happily vote this, and if you can go, I would suggest you do go, because it is just, and because it's in Brisbane, it's not so hard, so that's also a good thing. So anyone else like to speak? Councillor Hancock.
I'd just like to add to the comments and just say, for me, this is about professional development. As a councillor, we don't get much opportunity to have professional development, and this certainly is professional development. And it is also about relationship building, and it gives us that opportunity, as the Mayor has said, to build relationships with neighbouring councils, to build relationships with faraway councils, to actually understand that some of the issues that we're dealing with here, other councils are dealing with it. And so for me, that's really important. But the thing that really hit me when I went to my first one, and the thing that I actually really love about it, is it shows you a bigger picture. There is a bigger picture than just the Maranoa Regional Council. Maranoa Regional Council is very, very important to us. We have to be at the table to be part of the conversations of the bigger pictures. And the LGAQ annual conference, it shows you how advocacy works as part of a bigger picture via the LGAQ. And that for me was really important, because you were involved in submitting motions yourself and having the opportunity to put that to the table and see the support of other councillors, and to also sit there and then support other councillors in putting up motions that have that are meaning something to their area, but you're showing that level of support to promote advocacy up to the state government. For me, that was the thing that I really enjoyed, is to see the bigger picture, to support the bigger picture, and if we don't support it, then it doesn't happen. And therefore, then we lose that capacity of advocacy. And so I think not only should we go for professional development, I think we should go to support the LGAQ annual conference and their advocacy work that they do on behalf of us as members.
Thank you. Councillor Davis.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Councillor O'Neill for amending this recommendation and supporting me as a new independent councillor with his experience, and also you, Mayor Taylor, about what is valuable. If you only stay in your own patch, that's the only thing you know, isn't it? That's right. I do welcome the opportunity to go and, as Councillor Hancock said, get a bit of professional development, relationship building. So thank you. I'll be supporting this motion.
Anyone else like to speak? I'd like to sum up, Councillor O'Neill.
I won't. I think everything's been said.
Okay, we'll go to the vote. All those in favour?
Yes.
8-0. Might break for morning tea.
Sounds good.
Councillor Burkett, are you coming back, or you're right?
Yeah, I'll come back this afternoon some stage. I'm not sure where where everything's going after the service. So
Yep.
I'll text someone. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, I'd like to reopen the meeting, and I'd just like to note that Councillor Burkett and Councillor Flynn are not at the meeting at this time. Councillor Vincent, you have a conflict?
I have a conflict for C1. The description is 2024 to 28 Local Government Grants and Subsidies Program. The declaring councillor is myself, Councillor Jane Vincent. The person with interest is my mother, Janice Humphreys. Janice is the secretary for the CHIPS Group, which has a user agreement with the NG Museum, which is mentioned in the report. It is a declarable conflict of interest. Although I have a declarable conflict of interest, I do not believe a reasonable person could have a perception of bias. Therefore, I will choose to remain in the meeting. However, I will respect the decision of the meeting on whether I can remain and participate in the decision.
Do I have a mover? Councillor O'Neill?
I'll move that it is in the public interest of Councillor Vincent participates and votes on agenda item C1 because a reasonable person would trust that the decision is made in the public interest.
Have a seconder, Councillor Brompton. All those in favour? How's that leave me? 6-0. 6-0. Yep. Thank you.
Yep.
If someone move in.
7-0. Oh, but Councillor Vincent can't vote.
Yeah,
6-0.
6-0. Yep. Someone to move into closed. Councillor Vincent.
In accordance with close the meeting to the public at 11:24 a.m. to address confidential items that its councillors consider is necessary to close the meeting. In accordance with section 254J5 of the Local Government Regulation 2012, the following table provides the matters to be discussed and overview of what is to be discussed while the meeting is closed. C1, 2024-28 Local Government Grants and Subsidies Program. C2, renewal of term lease 0/22191994, lot 149 on DL 336. C3, renewal of term lease 0/238367 on lot 121 on DL 437, reserved for camping and water purposes. C4, renewal of term lease 0/238372, lot 49 on KE 67. C5, Regional Economic Futures Fund, REFF. LC1, concrete stockpile processing for DESI compliance. LC2, strategic housing projects. That's it.
All those in favour? 7-0. Now we're enclosed. Right. We're going to start on C1, 2024-28 Local Government Grants and Subsidies Program. Have a mover? Councillor Hancock.
I move that Council 1 submit an application under the 2024-28 Local Government Grants and Subsidies Program for Mitchell Multipurpose Facility, Hobson Place. 2, endorse a 40% co-contribution of the project budget if successful. 3, authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to sign the nomination forms and any further funding agreements as required. 4, be presented with a subsequent report outlining possible and future funding options to complete the fit-out of the In June Museum project.
Do you have a seconder? Councillor Vincent. Would you like to speak, Councillor Hancock?
Just to say that I'm excited that we're putting up Mitchell Multipurpose Facility Hobson Place for this grant, and the community have been waiting a long time for us to find the right grant to be able to fit the application and fit the project. We believe we have, and I'll be really excited to hear if we are successful, and would look forward to the project being completed.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak against? 4? Going to go to the, you want to sum up? You're good?
I'm good, thank you.
We'll go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. C2, renewal of term lease 0/221994, lot 149 on DL 336. Do I have a mover? Councillor Vincent.
I move that Council 1 advise the Department of Resources it offers no objection to the renewal of term lease 0/221994 over lot 149 on DL 336. 2, authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to enter negotiations with the current lessee, if required, to offer a trustee lease over lot 149 on DL 336. 3, authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to sign documentation in relation to this decision.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Davis. Would you like to speak, Councillor Vincent?
No.
We're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. C3, renewal of term lease 0/238367, lot 121 on DL 437, reserved for camping and water purposes. Councillor Brumpton.
I move that in line with Council Stock Route Management Plan 2024-29, Council advise the Department of Resources it objects to the renewal of term lease 0/238367 over lot 121 on DL 437. 2, if required, authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to enter into direct negotiations between the current lessee and Council to offer a trustee lease over lot 121 on DL 437 for a period of 2 years. 3, authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to sign documentation in relation to this decision.
I have a seconder. Councillor Seawright. Would you like to speak, Councillor Brumpton? Anyone like to speak? Going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. C4, renewal term lease of O/238372 Lot 49 on KE 67. Councillor Seawright.
I move in line with Council's Stock Route Management Plan 2024 to 2029. Council 1, advise the Department of Resources it offers an objection to the renewal of term lease 0/238372 over Lot 49 on KE 67. 2, if required, authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to enter into direct negotiations between the current lessee and council to offer a trustee lease over Lot 49 on KE 67 for a period of 2 years. 3, authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to sign documentation in relation to this decision.
Have a seconder. Councillor Davis. Would you like to speak, Councillor Seawright? Anyone like to speak? Going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. C5, a Regional Economic Futures Fund, REFF. Do I have a mover? Councillor Hancock.
I move that council note the officer's report and be presented with a detailed project summary at a subsequent council briefing.
Have a
Councillor
seconder?
briefing.
Oh, sorry.
There you go.
Can't have myself. Seconder, Councillor Vincent. Would you like to speak, Councillor Hancock? Anyone like to speak? Going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. We're going to go on to the late confidential. LC1. Councillor oh, hang on, I haven't said what it is, sorry. Concrete stockpile processing of DESI compliance. Councillor Brompton.
I move that Council 1 select Gunn Civil Constructions Proprietary Limited as the preferred supplier for tender 24072, concrete crushing at Roma Waste and Resource Facility, noting the submitted rates in this report. 2, authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to enter into final negotiations with Gunn Civil Constructions Proprietary Limited and accept the contract if final terms are acceptable.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Davis. Would you like to speak, Councillor Brompton?
Yes, we did receive a couple of offers for this work. We have had some detailed discussion around the pricing of this. I understand that this is a significant cost to council to undertake this. It is part of our environmental protection responsibilities. We have allocated sufficient budget in this financial year to meet this tender requirement, and this company has got significant experience in that area and was the officer's recommendation.
Anyone against? Anyone else like to speak for? Councillor Hancock.
I'd just like to say that I'm supporting this recommendation due to the risks that are involved in the project.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak? Councillor O'Neill.
I'll speak. I'm going to support this, but I just want to thank our my fellow councillors that we have had some really in-depth discussions, which are required when it comes to tenders, and we aren't making this decision lightly, and based on the risks, I too am going to support the recommendation.
Councillor Davis.
I've just got one question through the chair. CEO Cam, is preferred supplier the technical term we're using, or successful tenderer? What's council's usual wording there?
Good pick up. It'd be the successful tenderer.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm comfortable with successful tenderer to be replaced with preferred supplier. It's probably a carryover from a different arrangement
Yes.
there. So, yep.
A good pickup.
You happy with that?
I'm happy with that, yes.
You happy with that? No.
Oh, that's me. Yes,
Yes.
of course I'm happy with that. Thank you.
Had a win. All right, anyone else like to speak? Okay, we're going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. We've got
LC2.
LC2, Strategic Housing Projects. Councillor O'Neill.
I'll move that Council 1 receive the report and note the remaining funds from the strategic housing project approved under Resolution OM 01202461. 2, authorise the Chief Executive Officer or delegate to make arrangements to make an offer on the land described as option B as detailed in the report and as emailed on the 24th of the 7th, 2024. And 3, commence drafting a plan of subdivision for lot 338 on WV 1628 with the draft plan to be presented to a future council briefing for discussion.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Brompton, would you like to speak, Councillor O'Neill?
Yeah, thanks very much, Mayor. I think this is a step in the right direction. Last term, we spent what seems like hours talking about land. We need to now start moving strategically on how do we address what is a significant housing issue for our community, particularly around rental and affordable housing options. And this is a step that we'll be taking to address that. And so I am supportive of this resolution, of course, in 1 and 2. In terms of point 3, we need to be looking at some of the land that council already owns and has owned for a long time. People can Google what lot 338 on WV 1628 is. That is the police paddock. And it is time for us to recognise that asset, community asset, and look at ways that we can start opening that up to take some of the pressure off that our community is facing in terms of housing in Roma.
Thank you. Anyone against? Anyone else like to speak for? Going to go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0. What are we up to now?
Just late.
Oh yeah, L3. Everyone happy to get this one done? Had time? Yep. Okay. All right, so we're going to go on to L3, which is policy review, expenses reimbursement and provision of facilities councillors. Do I have a mover? Councillor Hancock.
I move that Council 1 adopt the updated expenses reimbursement policy as presented. 2, rescind previous versions of the expenses reimbursement policy. 3, update Council's website with the adopted policy in accordance with Section 251 of the Local Government Regulations 2012.
Do I have a seconder? Councillor Brompton. Would you like to speak, Councillor Hancock?
Just to say that this is a normal policy for council's expenses and reimbursements, and we're just updating the policies to add in the provisions of the portfolios, and happy with the policy as presented.
Thank you. Anyone else like to speak against? For? Councillor Brompton.
Thanks, Councillor Hancock. Just reinforcing that we did adopt the prior policy back in May, where it was fully reviewed in the new incoming council, and this is just to add the portfolios to that, and the highlighted areas show where the changes are.
Okay. Very good. Anyone else like to speak? Councillor O'Neill.
I'm happy to speak. I'm speaking in favour. From an administrative perspective and a governance perspective, we are simply just updating this policy relative to the changes that council has made in respect to the reintroduction of council portfolios into how we operate from a council. These changes here will allow councillors to fulfil those obligations that we have all decided that we are going to share in terms of the responsibilities for this term of council. There are some changes which have been highlighted in yellow that will provide provisions for the mayor, the deputy mayor and councillors and in their portfolio areas to be able to fulfil those duties, and that the major change there, of course, will be provisions of offices for the mayor, the deputy mayor, and a shared office space for all councillors to use within the Bungle Street offices, as well as access to office spaces in our regional centres on a needs basis. I think that's important to offer, a space for people to work out of, when they're fulfilling their, councillor and portfolio duties. It will also allow, on a fairly quick, time frame, councillors to be able to represent council at different meetings for stakeholders and forums relative to their portfolios. I think that's important, to ensure that we are able to represent the needs of our community, and these highlighted changes will allow councillors to fulfil those duties. So I'm fully supportive of this, and of course any policy can be reviewed at any time, and I'm sure if further tweaks needed to occur, then we will do that at the appropriate time.
Thank you. I'd also just like to add that I think it's great that we have made provision now for councillors to have a space if, coming from Injune, Wallumbilla, Mitchell, Surat, get it right, you have somewhere to go without feeling that you're taking up somebody else's space. So the fact that there is provision for office space, I just think that's really good. So I will also be supporting this. So Councillor Hancock, did you want to sum up? No? Everybody good? Let's go to the vote. All those in favour? 8-0.
LC4?
LC4, have a conflict, Councillor
L4.
Sierra?
Not
Oh,
LC.
just L4, sorry.
I'd just like to declare conflict of interest for this upcoming Senate site visit, 31st August 2024, declaring councillors myself, Brendan Seawright, person with interest in related parties myself. Particular interest, I work for another gas producing company. Whilst we operate in a different field of the industry, parts of our business may supply to the same market. I believe it's a declarable conflict of interest. Although I have a declarable conflict of interest, I do not believe a reasonable person could have a perception of bias. Therefore, I will choose to remain in the meeting. However, I will respect the decision of the meeting whether I can remain and participate in the decision.
Councillor O'Neill.
I move that it is in the public interest of Councillor Seawright participates and votes on agenda item L4 because a reasonable person would trust the decision is made in the public interest.
Have a seconder? Councillor Vincent, all those in favour? You don't get to vote,
Oh,
councillor.
sorry. Thank
You just buggered up
I'm
my
thinking
vote.
about something else and whether how it applies.
7-0. Okay, moving on. L4, upcoming Senate site visit, the 31st August 2024. I have a mover, Councillor Vincent.
I move that council receive and note the officer's report as presented.
Have a seconder?
What date is it?
Can I? Yeah.
Sorry?
It's not until 31st of August. It was just so that Councillor Seawright could declare his conflict. So it
No,
could
what
be
date is it? I thought it was the 31st of July.
Oh,
Oh, sorry, it is. Yeah.
oh,
Oh, yeah, that's right.
It actually is the July, it is. You're exactly right.
yes.
Let's take that all back, sorry.
Okay.
I was
So-
actually going to suggest that do we really need to put a date in case it needs to be moved?
It might be moved.
It wasn't in the
Yeah.
recommendation.
Yep. Upcoming Senate site visit, the 31st of July 2024. And we had a mover.
The council receive and note the officer's report
Yeah.
with the date amended to 31st of July, July 31, whatever, July 31, yeah.
Have a seconder?
I just got a slight amendment to the
Yeah.
resolution, if I can propose. I'm not too sure how to do that, given that it's got the date in there. But my suggestion would be that it reads that council receive and note the officer's report as presented, in particular our attendance at the site visit.
Okay.
On that date.
I was just the site visit I was going to put.
You just want the site visit in there? Okay.
Actually, I just believe it probably need to capture my conflict, that's all.
That,
Yeah. Yeah, but there's only recorded for now. Not for the day.
yeah, we've resolved to allow you to vote on this.
That's right.
The council received and note the officer's report as pretended, in particular attendance at the site visit. We've acknowledged it. The report is about the site visit.
Yep, so
You've declared, we've given you the go-ahead to be in here, so that it's been
yeah,
acknowledged.
good.
Yeah.
Councillors' attendance. So
Just
do we
through the-
still need to amend, sorry.
Just through the chair, do you think just for completeness, I don't want to complicate it, but like just around the date fix, obviously the councillor declared site visit on the 21st of August. Do we need to go back to that point, or are we happy with?
Could we
We
just
happy
put
that it's minuted enough?
With the date amended for the visit to be the 31st of July?
Yeah, I think it's two separate things we're dealing with at the moment. What
Yeah.
the CEO is raising is, I move the resolution to allow, allow councillor Searide in here. I acknowledge that it's the 31st of July.
Yep.
You just,
Should be fine.
the seconder, happy
We haven't
with
got a
that?
seconder yet.
You will have had a seconder for when
Oh,
I,
For the
okay.
conflict.
for the
For the
conflict.
conflict?
Yeah.
Which was
Can we
me.
make
Which
a
was-
can we make a statement after the conflict to acknowledge the date, the correct date? In the minutes, can we put a statement after the conflict that the motion you moved that says the
Amended date.
amended date of?
Yeah.
Sure.
Councillor Vincent, are you happy with that? Okay, is everybody happy now?
Yeah.
Can I have a seconder?
Our attendance?
Councillors' attendance?
Yeah, I think should be in particular.
Do you want to read it again, council?
The council receive and note the officer's report as presented, in particular councillors' attendance at the site with the date amended for the visit to be the 31st of July.
Seconder?
I just removed the
Councillor
first word
Davis?
site. Thanks, Nick. No. Yes, at the site, yeah.
Attendance at the
At the Senex site.
with the date amended for the site, with the visit to be, oh yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That all good? All right, would you like to speak, councillor Vincent?
No, I'm good, thank
Okay,
you.
everybody good? Let's go to the vote. 8-0. All right, have we got anything else we haven't done?
Everything.
That's it? Everything done? All right, thank you very much, and I'll close the meeting at 1:07.